It's
man.
alive. Okay. Well, happy Monday, everyone. Hope everyone had a nice
Or Tuesday,
weekend.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on when you're watching this recorded.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's live, it's
Why do I
Monday.
look like a big Oompa Loompa on this? Look at that. I'm all orange. No, I'm not. Now I'm orange. What's up my lighting? Yeah, I'm an Oompa
So,
Loompa again. Oh, I forgot to turn on my backlights. See, that helps. A little bit better.
a little better. So, at least you're not butt white like I am. So,
Yeah. It's not
okay.
very cool here, so all the windows are open, so lighting is very different in my office right now. And the camera's
Well,
probably
that's
not
good.
sure what to do.
Yeah, camera's like,
Wake up, we
what's
just got
going on?
started.
Yeah. Okay, so the last time we all met was when Joe and I went through our Rider plugins and dev tools and everything. So hopefully that was enlightening for people. And today we're gonna jump back into you know we're gonna jump back into the baseball history. We hit a little snag with the database. So more than likely, when you start a new project, your database isn't going to be uh, from a data aspect. It's not going to be very large because you're
Your
not
development
probably
database, at least.
at least your development database. The problem that I have with baseball history is that this is a existing read-only database that contains all baseball history from 1871 to last season, so
Which Woody was
2025.
around for, by the way.
Part uh, and some of the tables in this database are pretty large. Like there's a database table called appearances that has basically appearances of players in baseball games. And there are almost 129,000 records just in that one table. So, and I'll tell you, uh, the data, the SQL file that has all of the inserts for data comes out to be almost 73 meg in size, which if you've ever tried to pull a 73 meg file into any editor like Notepad or Notepad plus plus or Rider, it doesn't go so well. Rider hung up on me when it was trying to pull in this file. So what I'm going to be doing, and I don't know if we're going to do it today, but I'm going to have to not only break each table out into its own uh, file, there are some tables that are going to have to be broken into like partial tables. So
So,
like
hold on.
appearances might have to be like 10 files, so I can just say, hey, like load this file, that load each one so I don't have to load the entire uh, data insert set for appearances.
So before we get started on that, I thought of a couple of different things. So
Sure.
one of the things that Woody talked about was on, well, last Thursday, I think it was the actual stream date that we, or Wednesday when we did this. We tried to run it in Aspire, and the whole thing, and this has nothing to do with Aspire or SQL Server or anything. We basically concatenated the three scripts: the create the database, create the schema, and then seed the data. And when we kept running Aspire, and I think right up until we called it a session, it basically was dying. And it wasn't Aspire dying, it was just the fact, like Woody said, we were sending a 75 gig or 75 meg file across that basically had to load in memory and then get parsed by the SQL engine, et cetera, et cetera. And like Woody was saying, typically when you're doing development, you're not pulling in the whole entire production database. So I think what we need to do is do this in two parts.
Yeah.
One is we break down a copy of the data locally just for development. We take a smaller snapshot. So what I'm thinking is maybe we break it down by year and we pull in just everything from 2010. But that would require us.
Yeah. Or 2000. Yeah.
Whatever. In either case, we can segment out the data, which might mean we actually end up writing a script or a small app where we can say, export the data from these years, and then it will go through and pull that out into a separate file. And
Yeah.
then for our development, we can just say, okay, we only want the most recent, because we really don't need the entire history. We need stuff to play around with and test.
Yeah.
That would also allow us, when Woody wants to put this in production, we can run the SQL scripts by decade, let's say, and just run everything for the first 10 years and the second 10 years, and that would allow
Yeah.
the IDs and everything else to catch up.
So Joe, I have a question with Aspire. Can Aspire work with BAK files, BAK files, to restore? Do you know?
I don't know if it can or not. I'll check.
Okay.
That doesn't.
Okay, because yeah, that was the
It has
that
nothing to
was
do
the
with the back file. I mean, all Aspire is doing is starting an instance of SQL, and it's restoring the database based on a script. In theory, your startup script can be that restoration from the BAK file. In theory.
yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know because that's the other option that we could
But
go
we still have to
through.
get everything in that SQL
We
database.
we do. And how I've done it in the past is and I will let people know that on a Windows machine it works a little better because I've worked with SQL Server Management Studio, and I have found that does for me that does a great job with larger data files. So, and I work on the Mac OS now. So
Yeah, don't hold that against them, please.
no, oh well, yeah, well, actually, I'm now pretty much a convert over to the dark side, so to say.
I use
But
both, so it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I know, and I did get I gave my big Windows desktop to my nephew because he needed a new computer. He's going off to college. Um, but I do have my laptop, my Windows laptop that I could do some of this stuff on. Um, it's just some of this stuff. To be honest, this is a little less priority right now for me than some other things that I have on my plate. But and I've worked with this database, and Joe brought this up earlier. It's not only adding the data, but you have to know the order of the tables because of the relationships. So, so, but actually, that's not true. Well,
Well, it is because you said with this database, or at least your version of it, that you have foreign keys and relations.
yeah,
You need
yeah,
to
and
load
that's
the
part of the schema.
yeah.
And that's part of the schema. So yes, you have to insert the data in a
They
specific.
can't sort and award players without
Yeah,
having a player there. So
yeah, and now you can't have batting records without having the player data, like you said. Uh, so yeah, that's probably not something that we can show right now because that's just going to be a lot of grunt work for me to to kind of organize everything into all these files. So, do you have any ideas that what we could do for the next 45 minutes, Joe?
well, we can't show the rest of the app working in the migration. So what I would suggest we do right now is take out the SQL migration from it. So we comment out lines 3 through 15 in the app host
In
file.
the app host,
Well,
okay.
actually, 15 through 3 through 18, basically everything for SQL. So just pretend that didn't exist. And then we can technically publish this branch, right? Because we can test that it works because it's still connected to the SQLite database and we can make sure all the functionality works. Do
Yeah,
that, and in the off hours or when we're not streaming, we can look at a cleaner way to migrate this stuff
yeah.
over.
So let me share my screen and we can see what that looks like. Okay.
Ooh, Inception. Hello,
Yeah.
hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Echo, echo, visual echo. So we're talking all like
You can show all
basically,
that line 21.
yeah, we could comment out. So let's comment
Well, we
out
actually don't. Well, I guess we could comment it out. Control K, Control C, or on your Mac,
command.
Alt K, Command, one of those.
Well, it's different for mine. And then we
It's
could
always
just
going to be different.
knock out, I know. Then we can knock out that. So basically, at this point, we are not bringing in anything SQL Server, and we haven't actually changed anything over in the web project to because we're still connecting to over here to the SQLite database. So let's run this and make sure that everything works correctly. So we're running Aspire, the Aspire project, which will kick off everything.
Yeah, right now
Okay,
Aspire is just overkill in this app because all it's doing is starting the web
it
app.
is.
But it
It is.
adds the telemetry and stuff to the app that we didn't have before.
So let's start. Okay, so now we have this, and since we can see names and everything, we know that we're getting that from the SQLite database. And so, yep, this is all good. So as you can see, this is pretty basic. All we have is the web, but like Joe said we do have, uh, we can go down and do some. I think there are some.
I
Maybe
don't
there
think
aren't any
we enabled.
metrics.
I don't think we
Yeah.
enabled the metrics for it.
So do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I
We
just
can
gotta
turn.
remember how to do that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Do you have? Oh, that's right. You didn't have the
what?
extra file that, or the extra project, if I remember correctly, which was one of the problems.
Yeah, we when I had Squad add Aspire, it did not add the second project, which held a lot of the defaults
Yeah,
for
it does a lot of
creating.
the telemetry and stuff. Normally, there's a project called service defaults that would get added. So in this case, it would be baseball history dash service defaults, and that holds things like adding the telemetry and everything. So let's go
Do we?
and add that.
Can we add that explicitly? Add.
Yeah, just add it as a C sharp class library. Oh, no, that's
Can we
for
do?
the orchestra. You already have that.
Okay, so we just say new project.
Unless there's a way to do it from the plugin, try what's in there. Let's see.
Well, this is
So it
just going through.
recognizes it has one. Click on advanced settings. Yeah, that's. So we probably should not have used Squad without assigning the server, MCP server to it, because it looks like it just simply
Forgot.
forgot
Yeah.
the other piece. That's
Could
fine.
we?
We just add a new project that is a class library. I don't think it actually has to be Aspire. Let me see. I don't think it
Well, we can
does.
always add everything later. So
Yeah, it's
if you
just a
don't,
service class library. So
and what's it called?
you can
Service.
call it whatever you want. I mean, by default, it's called service defaults.
I'll just call it service defaults. Okay.
Click create.
Yep.
And then there is a file, and I will send it to you so you can just copy and paste it from the web so you don't have to type everything, and then I can walk everyone through it. So if we go to, I'm just going to pull an existing copy from one of my
Sure.
projects that
Yeah.
I know has it. It's the best part of development. A lot of copy paste with a lot of things.
Yep.
Woody and I were sharing another project this morning, and it totally barfed on my machine because there was some extra stuff that he didn't realize needed to not be checked in. So I just said, here, copy this file, and kind of handled everything for it, which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't know what didn't need to be included or what should have been added to get ignore.
Do you have our Teams open? Our Teams
Yeah.
chat?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's
People
the
are
file.
looking at.
I would just copy all that.
Yep.
Do Control A, Control C, and then paste it. Create a new file called extensions. Oh, it's
Uh,
already there. Just rename that file to
yeah.
Control R. Call it extensions.cs. I don't know if what you copied. Yeah, you can do that.
I'll just.
You're going to get a bunch of red in there for a couple
I
different
know,
reasons.
I know, but I didn't want to lose this namespace.
Yep. Do you want to keep that namespace there because that just makes it easier for
The
everything?
Microsoft extension hosting. Okay,
Yep. Because it kind of
okay.
just adds natively to it. So next
Let's
thing we're
see
gonna
if
have
we
to do
can.
is yeah,
What
you
are
might
the?
get rid of
uh,
the get rid of the using broadcasting.service defaults on line 11. That's mine.
Yeah.
You don't need Azure data tables, so get rid of
Yep.
that. And everything else should be good. So what you can do is click on the word Azure on line 1,
Yep.
and then oh, you can do that. I was just going to say do Alt Enter,
What?
and Writer will say, hey, I think it's this package. Do you want to use it? Click on the word Azure, the red one, and then you should
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
click on it. Don't do anything. You see the red bulb? Click on
Yeah.
the red bulb to the
Yep.
left. Oh,
And we can
yeah, it
just.
doesn't recognize it. That's fine. Let's do this the easy way. Normally, like I said, this would have been created earlier. So why don't we do copy and paste, right click on the service defaults project and choose edit, or
What do you want? Dependencies and then NuGet
I want
packages.
you to edit the project file.
Oh, okay.
Now go to our Teams chat, copy that item group. What I basically did was copy out all the references. Helps if I hit send.
Yeah.
Those are all the package references that are needed. Paste it right out. On your screen, yeah, paste it there. Get rid of line 13. You could probably get rid of line 11 and 12 also because you're not using Azure Storage or data tables. Save it. Man, you love the mouse, don't you?
I do.
I think I
I'm a
was there.
mouse guy. Sorry.
Now,
There is something
yeah,
still.
it's Resharp. If you look at the bottom, ReSharper is probably getting downloading those packages as soon as you hit save. Or you can right click on the service defaults. Oh yeah, you'd want to get rid of that line because we're not using that.
Yeah.
It's probably complaining red for yeah,
For all the seek. Yeah.
yeah, for all the ones we're not using. And that should be it, I believe. Scroll up
That
just a little
is.
bit.
That is it.
No, scroll down because I think there's a SQL one in there.
Oh, right
Yeah,
here.
comment out that for now from line. Yeah, because we'll want that eventually. Okay, so now let's go back to our app
Okay.
host. And the reason why we put it in a separate project, or at least the way I do it, is because normally I have the API and the web in two projects, and we can share the same registration and health checks. Woody has everything in just the web, so technically he could have just copied those methods and put them in there. So let's go back to the app host file,
I am. I'm here.
and then right after do, 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 do. Oh, you actually, sorry, you have to go to your program.cs for the web project. You
Okay.
basically have to tell the web to run all those. So the first spot you want to go is right around the, where is it? Do, 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 do. Right around the in between line 10 and 13. So right after the create builder, do a builder dot add service defaults.
Builder.
You're not going to see it in IntelliSense if that's what you're looking for.
So add service default.
Yep. With an S.
Default or yeah. Okay.
And then close parentheses, semicolon. Now, if you hover over it with ReSharper and do that, you have to basically add a reference to that project you just created. So
Yep.
right click on your baseball history web project. Then add that base.
Okay.
Now it should be good for that. And I think we need to do one more thing. The next thing is to go and come on. After where is it? Sorry, I just had it open on my screen and I lost it.
No problem.
After the builder.builder, there should be somewhere towards the bottom of your file an app equals, yeah. So
Yep.
right after that, had an app.map default endpoints. It's down at the bottom of your list.
Yep.
And close it, semicolon.
Yep. Yep.
Now you should be able to run it, and we should have the telemetry. And then we can kind of walk through the file and show everyone what it does.
Sure. Awesome.
A lot of this
Thanks,
gets done automatically by Aspire
It
if you
does.
go through the command line.
Yep.
And some of it is actually not needed anymore because it kind of has it built in with the newer versions. So once the app is healthy, go through and just click on a couple of links to start generating some of the structured logs. Oh, you don't have
Yeah.
structured logs, right?
I don't. Nope. We didn't add that.
Okay, so let's go and take a look at the console. There you go. Now we start seeing the telemetry. It says
Yeah.
there's been calls to get, loaded files. So now it's working. And if you go to metrics, might not have any. Oh yeah, there it is. There's all the ASP metrics and everything else now. So our telemetry is hooked up and now we can start seeing it. So the next
Yeah.
thing we could do if you wanted at some point was to add additional logging to it if you so desired. But I don't think that's necessarily important right now. But now we got the telemetry where you can see SQL statements created.
Yep.
It's a little bit better if you go, I think if you go on the structured logs, it might appear because those are, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can see
So
them all.
Yep. So like this is getting a count from people, which is basically it holds players and managers, holds all the people that have played or managed baseball games.
Yeah. Maybe next year
So,
I'll add in a table for robots for all the failed
oh, the
new system,
challenges,
the challenge calls.
the umpire challenges, those are actually interesting to because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, you should chat. Oh, you only get the problem is you get like two, and
Yeah.
then
You get two wrong ones.
two wrong ones. Yeah, yeah. So if you keep getting them right, you get them back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so this is pretty cool. This uh has I always found it interesting that Aspire will give you the both the HTTP and then
Well, it's going
the
based on what's
security.
in your project launch settings.
Yeah.
By default, a lot of apps still use HTTP locally and they don't use HTTPS. It's only the newer apps because
Yeah.
ASP.NET has the built-in dev certificates, so it can do that without running into browser warnings.
Oh, it's kind of cool. They have uh, GitHub Copilot
Yeah,
in
it's up in the
Aspire.
top two. There's a little GitHub guy. You
Yeah.
can use that if you go back to your structured logs for a second. Let's say you had oh, you got a warning right there. So click on that warning one. It's midway through
Hmm.
your screen.
Yep.
And then you could ask Copilot, why am I getting that? So if you would click on the little guy,
Unavailable.
you don't have
Can
Visual
use.
Studio or Visual Studio Code and DevKit, and
Oh
neither one of those
no.
are signed into your GitHub account. So in
Oh
theory, that chat would appear. Basically, it uses
yeah.
a tunnel to Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code to validate that you have the license, and then it uses its APIs to go out and call Copilot. So I can say, or in this case, Woody can say something like, "Can you explain this warning and if there's a better way to fix it?" And then they can
So
come up with suggestions for you to
yeah.
use the code. Or what we could do is literally copy and paste that message text. Since we have Squad on there, we can ask Squad to what that error is and fix it. Don't do it that way. Click on the little magnifying glass because you only get part of it there. And then copy. Click the copy to keyboard. And then we can go start up Squad and say, hey, I got this error. You might have to give it the file so it knows where to fix it.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'll let people know why I couldn't connect to Copilot, GitHub Copilot. In my Visual Studio, I'm running ReSharper, and ReSharper and the C Sharp Dev Kit don't work well together. So I have the original C Sharp add-in, which allows you to do the debugging. So basically, ReSharper does everything, but it doesn't at this point. ReSharper for VS Code doesn't do uh, debugging yet, so they haven't added it to it, and it doesn't log in with and handle anything with GitHub Copilot. So that's the downside of using the ReSharper add-in for VS Code. Okay, so everyone's awake. So I'm just
Who's
gonna
your architect?
say Ripley. Ripley, can you um,
I would do that. Ripley, I got a
find?
warning, executing this query
Can
on the
yeah,
page. The more specific you are, the better it can answer.
yeah. I have a warning from Um,
Do you know what page that was? You can go back to the
I can go
dashboard.
back. Yeah, that was from.
You'd have to look at the trace. So
mm,
click on that DB whatever, the hyperlink in the trace column, or that right there. Click on that, and it tells you the index page. So
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
it's just
So now you
the
go back and
index.
tell
Yep. Yep. From the main web project index page, this warning.
and then oh, you gotta
Well,
do.
I just want to see if what Ripley will do.
It's not gonna really do much because you didn't tell him to do anything, or
I
her.
didn't tell her to do anything. Okay, reviewing. I'm I'm I'll bet you she does more than you think. A lot of these AIs, at least the agents, if they're getting very intuitive, where you don't really have to give them a lot of detail. You just have to go, hey, go figure out what's wrong with this and fix it. And depending on which version, how advanced your LLM is, they're pretty good about being intuitive and figuring out everything. See, it says found it and fixed it. I'm handing the session over. So we didn't even ask Ripley to fix it, and she fixed it. So the warning came from consuming a group result with first or default before establishing the order. So let's see if that did fix it. So let us go back here. We'll just kind of, because it happened on the index. So let's go back to here and see if,
Well, you're gonna have to
uh,
restart the project.
oh,
And
sometimes, oh, okay.
let you do hot reload.
No, I
Because I don't
probably
know where
didn't.
he changed it, or sorry, she changed it.
Yeah. And we'll get a whole new, the nice thing is we'll get a whole new trace also. So, okay. Let's go trace. And we didn't get the warning. So we can see what got changed. Let's go to
No, one above it.
index. Oh, we just had to add an order by. So an order by one. Okay.
I just added
Don't
the
like.
first field so you because
Yeah.
doesn't know what you want to order it by.
Yeah. Yep. So we don't get that error anymore. So that's good. So let's make sure we don't have it in the structured logs either. Yep. So we're all good. Let's kind of go back, kind of do a few things. We'll go
We want
back
to
and
check a
take.
couple of things to make sure that it's using your HTMX library, because that was the whole purpose of this kind of
Well,
development.
so yeah, so for players and teams, you can see that we have. I'm using kind of a card. This there is no control. There's a control for a card, but there is no control for having multiple, like hooking these cards into a result set coming back from the database. So I was thinking about this morning when I was walking the dog. I may
Most people do to
use
get their coding ideas.
yes, yes, walk the dog. I seem to get when I take a shower or walk the dog. Those are my key idea when my kind of my mind goes off and
You know, there are
doesn't.
scientific reasons for that.
Probably there is.
The
Probably
same
there
reason why
is.
a lot of times it happens when you're asleep because you're not focused on it. Your brain is actually working on stuff behind the scenes, and that's where it comes
Yeah.
up with these
I
ideas and thoughts.
Yep.
The shower
I've
is a
had that
total,
too. I've had
the
that too.
bathroom.
Like, yep, going off to sleep, you get that idea. You ever had that idea? You like you're half
Yeah.
asleep and then you're like, okay, I gotta get up and write this down or go work on this. So my idea is to have a control that will build out and through HTMX build all of these cards, a set of cards based on a result set coming back from the database. So right now, these are all just done explicitly, like through a for each loop, which doesn't really isn't really HTMX, and it's probably not the most efficient way to do it anyway. But
I
so
mean,
I'm
would add an
thinking about
issue to the database or have your squad add an issue.
we could let's go do that. Let's
And
go
then
tell the
this way
squad
you don't
to
remember. And
yeah.
then, they could assign those permissions at some point to
I
figure that
know.
out.
In my old age, I will forget that. So okay, so team,
No, you don't need
let's
to do team for that. When you're
no.
doing
Okay.
architecture stuff or you want new features, say, I need an issue to do this, and then kind of explain a little bit about what you want to do. And then once you create the issue, have Ripley triage it, and then they'll just add in all the details.
So let's add a new feature that will have a new web component.
I've also learned that spelling does not matter as much with these,
I I know it's pretty good.
except if you're using a word and you don't really spell it close to what it is.
Yeah.
I was typing to mine at some point last week about some of the frustration I've had with it missing some of the roles. And I said, this has happened 1,000 times and it might be exaggerating a bit, but it felt exaggerating close. And it says, the text said, it seems like Joe is frustrated. I don't know. I wrote exactly instead of exaggerating. I don't know what exactly meant, but I think it was just he was focusing his frustrations on the topic. Which, by the way, happened today, the same issue. And it caught it itself and said, Joe, I've noticed this has happened 3 times this sprint. We need to do something about that. And I replied back saying, yes, it's happened 3 times this sprint, but about 30 times already. Says, yes, I've seen that in the notes. I got to find a better way to stop the agents from doing this.
That's funny.
Let's see. So let's add a new feature that will have a new web component that is HTMX based for a set of cards created from an EF result set.
Yep. Can you create a new GitHub issue and have details about the new web component?
Trying to think if that's enough data for the scribe or Ripley to do anything
I
about it. Have a new web component that is HTML based for a set of cards
Here, why
created.
don't I do this?
That might work.
actually,
Let's try and see what happens. You can always
actually, actually, it shouldn't go into here. It should go into HTMX Razor because that's my
oh, so you want to
yeah.
build a
This
new
one
component.
uses the HTMX Razor web component kit, but it doesn't.
Oh, I thought
So
you wanted to
I'm
build a
no.
specialized one for this.
No, I want to go back and have it as a generic, have it as a generic component in HTMX Razor. Can so that here's a question. Do you think Squad can't go to another
It can go to another repo and read stuff, but it will
but
not.
it can't it
It
doesn't have
won't be able to
permissions
add to
roughly.
it. It might be able from this session if you reference that, saying, hey, create an issue in this repo for it since you're the owner of both and it's using your GitHub token. It might be able to, but I know it can definitely read code from other repositories as well as
Let's try.
new issues.
Hey, doesn't hurt. A new HTMX Razor web component. So I'm
But
going
you're
to
gonna need more than
move.
that because it's not going to be able to go to that project. So
Well, I was going to state that at the end. So,
yeah, that's fine. I
uh,
would do it right after or at some point after you say, can you create a new issue? And I would say in the repository of blah, blah, blah.
yeah. Can you create a new GitHub issue in HTMX Razor? Actually, let
I
me
would say
check
in the
this.
repository and then give it the name of the repository.
Yeah, see, it is in here. It's Razor, the original, the
Well,
original
give it the
repository.
GitHub repository. So go to GitHub and get the whatever the GitHub name is for it, because that's all it can do. It's going to
It
be able to
is
API.
in GitHub. It's HTMX Razor in the Git.
Then I would say create a new issue in my GitHub repository named, and then put in quotes HTMX Razor.
Oh, come on. Okay, can you create a new GitHub issue in the GitHub repository HTML Razor and have details about the new component?
What do you mean by details about the new component?
Uh, like if it just a little description. I could
So
details about the new
because
component for. I'm just trying to say create the issue and put a little detail into it.
yeah, typically it's to triage it, and that's what it'll do. Because it's a different
That's
repo that it doesn't know about, it might not be
that's
able
fine.
to do that.
Yeah, let's try it with this. Let's see if let's see if it will do it. I'm resolving. Oh, let's see what that said. I'm
Why don't you make
resolving.
this terminal bigger? Since
I'm resolving which repo you mean and checking GitHub off before I open up the issue. I didn't get an exact repo match from,
Yeah,
so
that,
I'm
you sure
broadening a
that's the
look.
name in your GitHub?
It is. It's the name. I found that. Yep, I found it as. I should have probably said C Woodruff / HTMX Razor because that's really what it looks for, the account / repo
Yep.
name. And I'm
Okay.
opening the issue there now. Cool.
So click on that link and let's see what issue it wrote. It might be. Oh,
Let me increase the size. So yeah. Wow.
that's
Didn't
cool.
have to even, yeah. Gave a summary, goal, proposed scope, and acceptance criteria. That's very cool.
Nice. Now you
Yeah.
have it to remember.
And for the squad here in this repo to work on. So that's very cool. That is that's a nice feature because if you're working with a NuGet package or something in another repo, you can kind of put stuff over there. So
Yeah,
oh,
assuming you have access to it because it's all controlled by what your
yeah,
GitHub
what
event
your
session has.
what your authentication token can do. So cool, cool. So we've got that. We have about 5 minutes. Anything you want to chat about?
No, I think what we could do is wrap up and in the off hours we'll try to figure out a better way to get a cleaner way to get the data.
The data. I'll figure that out tonight. So I like hacking on databases and data and stuff. So
Well,
I'll
you know
get
the
it.
column, you know the table order, so I would I would suggest that you either maybe ask the squad to do it, seeing if I connect to this database, can you give me the scripts in this order to break it out by
Yeah,
decade or something, or even just because this script gets updated every year, you might want to have a little, command line app or console app that you can
sure.
use.
To add new. Well, the problem is the data doesn't come out by season. They just dump it in to the
Well, I know,
master data. Yeah,
you would just take that and run it again
yeah,
against your
yeah.
against whatever data provides, especially since you're already doing transformations and updating table schemas and stuff. You just run this tool once instead of you having copy paste and load Excel
True.
spreadsheets and
Well,
sacrificing code and
the
stuff.
yeah, the one thing I do have is if you take a look and do a search for baseball, I do have a baseball history DB. So I have kept uh, like restore. I've kept previous databases that I've created over the years. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do tonight is create a 2000 or a 2025 restore. So
Hmm.
basically, it's just a back. And then what I've also done is build out SQL scripts for each one also. So, like, here is for 2023, the last time I did this, which I broke out um a a file for each uh, database table. So,
Cool.
which held, I think each one. Sorry, it's
It's
too big. Yeah,
7.3 meg.
if take a look at the teams, that's probably nope. That one's even too big. Well, let's
Well,
look
the
at
files are
raw.
mostly massive.
So yeah, so what I did was let me make this a little bigger. I would just have the create table, and I wouldn't have the at least for like this one, I didn't put any. I did put the primary key on there. So the primary key is a compound key between team ID, league ID, and year. So each team can be identified by the franchise, which is the team ID, the league that's in National, American, or some of the old teams have other leagues, and then the year. So every team is broken down by year. But if you take a look at the very, come on, the very end of this file, you'll see that this is now this at the end is where I do my table alterations and put
Yep.
put like constraints and the relationships and stuff in. So
I mean, it
So-
still might have issues because of the size of some of those tables, but at least if you have it broken down by the tables, you
Yes.
just need literally a SQL script that says run this import
this order.
this import, then this import.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's what I've done in the past is broken it down by table and then run. I have an order that I import those tables in. So you can see right here, import CSV files also. So because a lot of times I would get the raw data not by CSV. So that's how I would pull in
Cool.
the data into each one of these tables, because there would be one CSV per database table. So I would kind of pull those in, then I would hand adjust with the constraints at the end, so to make it relational. But yeah. But we are just at 3:00, so we'll be back tomorrow with
Yep.
with this database, everything resolved with the database and the data migration, and then we'll show how to bring that and change. Well, do the Aspire for SQL Server, and then also what needs to change over in our web ASP.NET Core Razor Pages project to use that database, which is created by Aspire. So that's interesting in itself. So,
That it is.
you have anything else to end with, Joe?
Live long and prosper.
Oh wow. Okay. you're my Vulcan friend. So cool. So we'll get back, and there we go. So we will talk to everyone later, and hope everyone has a good rest of their Monday, and see you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.